if you saw my comments in the Citizen this week, that there is a data center that is by right entitled, I mean, it is zoned appropriately in Fayetteville and has been for years. That there are people showed up at their planning and zoning commission meeting on Tuesday night and were screaming and hollering, and planning and zoning denied a conceptual plan that met all of it. And they will end up in a lawsuit.
That was my next question.
And not only will they end up in a lawsuit, but they will end up sued for damages. And it has the potential.
Well, they can, but I would think that under our ordinance, they can appeal to council first.
It automatically goes to council. I'm saying if council denies it, so their council is in a really awful position. Yes, it is. That's a recommending, and it will go to council. Their council is in a really hard place. Because if they vote yes, because they know of the lawsuit, or if they vote no, then they know of the lawsuit.
But this is just exactly what Mike talked to us about this morning, that you hear these voices. Sometimes I've always thought of it as our job is to know more. We have to know more. And we know things that the citizens who would come and protest that data center, we have to know more than our citizens do. We owe them that.
Absolutely. One of the biggest myths is out there, and I don't know where it came from, and I don't know how to get rid of it. I do know where it came from. It came from 30 years ago. Is that their water usage?
Yeah.
Their water usage at QTS, I've calculated it, is equal to 65 homes.
And more homes would have gone into where
They would have had 1,200
homes in that area.
Right?
1,200 homes.
1,200 homes. 600 acres, you figure a half acre lot. It would have been 1,200 homes. And so the water usage, now, water usage during construction is a different conversation, right?
Yeah.
But water usage, ongoing water usage, each of those buildings uses the equivalent of 4 to 5 homes.
Vicki, are they doing any the geothermal cooling with their water, or is that not?
They don't have to. They're using, because the way that their system works is it's a closed loop system. And so when they pump the water into it, it has zero evaporation to it. They pump it in, they fill it up, and then they seal it off. And
That's why their usage is so low.
Low, that's correct. Their usage, their ongoing usage is toilets and sinks. So.
Really, not, I mean, the whole cooling.
But they're gonna be using then electricity.
They are
of
using
some type
electricity.
to do the cooling. You can't make energy.
No, they are using
They're
electricity.
using electricity
but
to do that.
They are using electricity.
So that's where the other side of the coin is. You got water on one side,
Right.
electricity
That's right.
on the other.
They're using a lot of
Gotta manage
electricity.
both of them.
You want to know the good news for y'all about their electricity usage? Guess what y'all have negotiated? You're lost and splossed. And you get sales tax on the energy that they pay for.
Nice.
And what will that
We're
be?
gonna get a lot.
And what will that be for Peachtree City?
Calculated.
I did calculate it, but I don't remember.
It was a
Come
lot.
on, dig deep.
It
I'm
was-
thinking.
I got it back there.
I've seen it, 2.3, 2.3.
I think at full capacity, you'll probably be at 2 million a year.
That's just
Add-
our.
add-
And it's gonna be a while before they hit
Added to our sales tax.
When will full, what do you mean by that? When will-
2029.
And that, the 2.3
Yeah.
So, and let me.
2.3 is per penny, right? Or did you do it
I need
per
to,
month?
it's on my computer, I can look at it. I will look before I leave to tell you what that number is. And that's all, that's all projections on my side, because I don't know if they're paying 2 cents a kilowatt hour, 4 cents a kilowatt hour, I don't know. So I'm not putting those out there for y'all to make any plans. I've spent today on the phone with CFOs going, don't make your budgets based on my projections, because until they start showing up in the tax digest, you don't know, or in your distributions. But you need to know that, but the same is true. Fayetteville has benefited for a long time off of the energy, the sales tax on your manufacturing companies, except for your manufacturing companies don't pay any sales tax on energy.
What?
It's one of the benefits, the incentives that the state has is you don't pay any sales tax on energy for manufacturing.
And data centers don't fall in that
They
category.
They don't pay any sales tax on equipment as they're purchasing it and putting it in. They have a different set of incentives. So,
And then Fayetteville also, though, while we're talking about it, they got
franchise fees,
franchise fees and impact fees during construction.
building fees,
Building,
yes, they did.
Yeah, permits.
Yeah, permit fees.
With
but
the,
not impact fees for like.
I don't think they got
fire
any
station.
I don't,
with the advent of modular nuclear reactors coming on, from what I'm hearing from Georgia Power, they'll be ready by 2030.
the County Board of Commissioners, the Board of Education, and the City of Fayetteville will roll back that they will do a homestead exemption on the first $400,000 value of their home. I believe that Tyrone will look to do the same thing when their data center comes online, and they'll start construction in 27. That will leave Peachtree City as the only municipality in the county that is assessing a millage rate on the first $400,000 of their own value.
Boy, there's silence in the room when you said that.
Well, you need to know the landscape. You need to know what it looks like out there.
I figured it was gonna be the entire millage, so 400,000 is actually less than I thought. I thought they were gonna get rid of their villages completely.
I don't think they're gonna get rid of it. No, and I honestly, I don't want them to, because I think there's value in people paying something.
Right.
Well, I think for us, it's gonna come down to this annexation study and because stuff like this, if it's a data center or whatever it is, if we want to get to the point where we can really work on the homestead and get, relief for people, where are we going to put it where people still feel like, okay, we're still Peachtree City. We're not just plopping these things in, and we'll have to be strategic with Nikki, because I know talking with you with Nikki that people want to come to Peachtree City. Like, we can recruit businesses.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting the land.
And that's why the annexation stuff that we're going to be doing is so important.
For the last 30 years, the Development Authority has run under the radar, and we have not wanted anybody to know who we were or what we were doing, just because we didn't want to put it out there.
So what is the next step in that conversation? What does that even look like?
Well, let me tell you the other unintended. You are in a position to have a conversation about what the development of the historic property looks like. Church, I'm just going to call it the church. It is under contract and it is going to sell. They have had a DRI and they could go for rezoning on it in Coweta County, and they could get 2,200 homes in it very quickly. And you would be dealing with those unintended consequences.
Because they're all going to Trader Joe's.
What?
They're all going to shop
They
at
are
Trader
all
Joe's.
coming to Trader Joe's. When Georgia Trend asked me what I was excited about, I said Trader Joe's. That was one of our
So how do
successes.
we turn that project for us? I'm not saying we are, but how do we do it?
I think you seriously consider annexing it and adding it as part of your industrial portfolio.
That's what I thought you'd say. I'd like to make a proposition maybe that you can handle here is, let's do this seriously. If we're gonna take it on, let's take it on seriously and get together with SCDA, our council, assuming you approve of that, and let's get all together and talk about it seriously of what are we gonna do, and if we're gonna do it, what actions do we need to take?
We need to have the conversation.
Yep.
How does that start?
How does that start? Regardless of what we've said here, this is, our meeting.
Right.
This is what we're doing.
Yes,
This
but a
is
lot
in
of
the
this
best
stuff would
interest of
normally-
Peachtree City.
A lot of this
That's
stuff
what I
would
wanna
normally
do.
be talked about in executive session.
This is almost like an executive
We would
session.
not have Martha taking notes on, we would have Stacy or Jasmine would doing
Well,
a few
it's
notes.
not
I say, I don't think it's an
It
executive
would
session.
not be, because now if there was an actual offer to like purchase,
Right.
but the
I'm just
annexation
saying.
itself,
No.
it wouldn't be,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Because ultimately,
So the meetings will be looking for some
It's-
type
it's a
of
quality of
positive
life.
response from us to move forward.
You know,
Is
you
that
don't
what
wanna
I'm-
live.
That's what you're really looking for at the end of the day.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to go and I want y'all to have some real conversations about it, figure out what your concerns are, what your questions are, and let me get answers to those. Because what I don't want to do is, I don't want to go and bring them to the table and say, hey, let's pitch it, and then y'all go, absolutely not. I want to, when we have that conversation, that you've gotten most of your questions answered, and that you've gotten to a place that you go, okay, I'm 75% there, and this is closing the deal, not, I'm 25% there, and we gotta, I don't wanna put my reputation out there to say, come to this meeting, and then they go, that was a waste of 4 hours of my life, kind of thing. I don't think that's the case. I don't.
Nikki, you've done a good job in convincing some people to stay.
She's not pitching anything. I hear her say there are conversations to be had.
Yep.
You gonna get us one of them data centers?
Them evil places.
I'm not gonna say no.
Don't say no.
I do have another question that's come up in staff part.
Okay.
So Peachtree City, their occupational tax is based on the number of employees, similar to Tyrone.
Okay.
Fayetteville charges gross receipts.
Oh,
And Peachtree City may be leaving a lot of money on the table.
okay.
Is it a true incentive for business to come down to pay so much lower? I mean, I've never even heard of that being used as an
I've
incentive.
never heard that.
Right, and, where our cap is what, $2,600, no matter how many
I've never heard that.
yeah, so we don't collect grocery receipts. I was just wondering on your front, if you ever utilize that as an incentive. I've never heard of that as an
Never.
incentive either.
No,
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
So maybe we'll consider that, council. A lot of money is being left on the table from, yeah. Fayetteville, I'm sure is not. We wouldn't even, with QTS, we wouldn't, like, let's say QTS was in Peachtree City, we only charge.
$2,600 would be your max.
Correct, well, it's per employee, they have to have like 300 employees to even make that capacity. We don't charge gross receipts like a lot of other cities do. And so instead of us taking a gross receipt of their revenue and collecting a business license or occupational tax from that, we're only collecting a max based on the number of employees. So that facility being as large doesn't have as many employees. So even if we eventually get a data center, we will never make the amount of money in the, off of the business like other cities do, like Fayetteville does.
Interesting.
Just something to consider.
Do we have the right to change that?
I mean, we didn't even look at it. I can look at it further, but I just wanted to mention it because we have talked about it in the office. About changing that over from employee to revenue.
I don't want anybody to think we're sticking it to our businesses.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
It's not like we're doing anything different from
Correct.
anything else.
And we actually have businesses who
change.
have a pseudo office here because it's a tax, they're paying so much less, they get an occupational tax, because you only need one in the state. And now all of a sudden, yeah. So,
You wanna
just thoughts.
Are you going with us now?
I mean, well, at this point, I am.
You might as well wait out traffic.
I mean, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
It's the amount of time.
You ready to go to Portillo's? I guess we can just go straight there.
Yep.
Instead of going back to the
Do
hotel.
they have wine at Portillo's?
No.
You know what?